Hi, this is Bruce from Big Fish Software again, and in this video we're going to talk about some of the different settings in the app, ways to configure the app to make it easier to enter data depending on your needs or how you like to do things. We go to the settings menu, and there's a number of different things. A lot of them we've covered in different videos, so I'm not going to go through them all. But let me just point out the main page here, the About page. You can easily send me an email. Try to get back to you as soon as possible to answer your question or if you have a problem. Also, you can click on the website button to take you to the website where hopefully you found these videos originally. But there's all of the videos are listed on this website. You can also, we have a Google group set up for workouts, so you can exchange some ideas with other coaches that are using the Workouts app. And we have a convenience link to proswimworkouts.com. You might want to look into this website to share and collaborate with other coaches. It's a very nice website for that. So other settings, we've been through the seasons settings, so I'm not going to go through that one again. We've also gone through and looked at the groups and subgroups and talked about those in some previous videos. We've looked at the athletes and setting up, adding athletes, maintaining the groups that the athletes are in. Next we have set categories, and we've seen this. We've seen the categories when we're setting up sets. We've been able to define and select for a set what stroke, what work, what modifier. Well, here's the place that all these settings or all these different categories are set up for these different settings. So you can go in and easily add your own choices here. And let's say I want to add a new modifier. So we just click on the modifier section. Actually, you can change that once you open up the setting here. But I'm going to add a modifier, and I'm going to call it the kick pull modifier. Don't ask me what that means. I just made it up. So I'm going to save that, and now I have my kick pull modifier. And I think as you get in and start using the app and looking at the, especially the summary reports, you're probably going to want to think some about how you want to structure these different categories and what options you have in here. One thing that I do want to point out is the energy category. So you can change your energy settings. And what we've done on the energy is you can give it a description, the Team Manager ID. Once again, if you're exporting back to Team Manager, it likes to know what that ID is. And we've included all the default energy categories that Team Manager has. And then you can define a stress index from 0 to 10. And once again, the default categories that are loaded with the system are the same categories that the Team Manager for Workouts uses. So if you're using that app, you might want to stick to these settings, or you can delete them all and define your own. Next thing, we have test set categories, and this is very similar to other kinds of categories. So we allow you to group test sets into different categories. And once again, we put a number of default ones out here. You may want to go in and just delete some of these if you don't want them. Just swipe delete and or change them around, set up whatever you want. The next video we are going to talk about test sets, so we'll go through the test set categories a little bit more. Next one, favorite sets. We've seen this before. I showed you in another video how you can take a set and add it as a favorite, or take a circuit and add it as a favorite. This is where you can go and modify or work with those favorites. So once you save a set as a favorite, you can come in here to edit that, and you know, maybe the kids are getting faster and they only need 815 now to do the 500. Save that. So this is where you can modify your favorites, or if you decide that it's not a favorite anymore, you can always swipe delete it. Once again, this will only delete the favorite if you've attached that favorite to another set or to a workout. It's not going to delete it from that workout. Next one is preferences. So this is really where we start to get into how you can configure the app for your needs. So this is the default course. You can select what you want when you create a new workout, what the default will be if you're always running long course meters. You know, set that up in here as your default. Start day a week, different countries, different coaches consider a different day of the week as the starting day, so you can select that in here. And what that will do is that will affect your seasons. When we break apart the season, we break it up by weeks in the default view, or on the main view here. So we break this up by weeks, and the that setting will determine when your week starts. And then next we have the attendance option, and I think we showed this in another video with the athletes and attendance video, so I won't go through that again. But keep in mind, you can change between your selection style, whether it's a button selection style that you press the button to advance to the next value, or whether it opens up a pick list when you're selecting what the attendance is. Okay, so now we have set preferences. And set preferences, so when we're building sets, these are the preferences that are really going to come into play. And you've seen when we were building sets before, the pace calc or the pace calculation was based on 25 yard or 25 short course meter, depending on what you were using. You can change that. So if you want your pace set at 50s or 100s, you can select that, and it will calculate and display that value when you're building the set. This is very handy if you're building, if you're putting longer distance sets like 1,000 or something, or 1,500. It's kind of nice to know what your interval is, what the pace per interval would have to be be able to make that set. And then we have a number of different defaults for the different items. So the rest interval, if you always want your rest interval to be 3 minutes, you can set that up in here. One of the things when you're dealing with these pick lists here for time, you can fine-tune it to the actual second, or to make selection a little bit easier, we have this 5-second setting so that you don't have to scroll through as much to find the item that you're looking for or trying to set the value. Now, that being said, you might not like this pick list at all. You might find that it's kind of cumbersome to go through and enter your times that way. And we give you the option. Right now it's set for pick list, but we can change that to an entry field. And it looks the same, but when I click on it, now you get a field where I can just type in the number. So if I want it to be 5 minutes, I can type 5:00, and I click out of it, and you see it reformats a little bit. Or I don't even have to put the colon in. I can just do 5:00, and it knows that that's 5 minutes. Okay, so you might find that it's a little bit easier to deal with the entry field instead of the pick list. So I'm just going to show you the different options. So circuit repeats with the pick list looks like this. With the entry field, it looks like this. You notice we don't have the colon because we're just asking for a number. With the set repeat distance, so this is like a combination field, so I can do 5 50s or 5 100s, let's say. This is what it looks like in your pick list. And if I choose to the entry field, it actually splits it into 2 separate fields, so I can put in my number of repeats, 25. And I click out of it, and I do 125s, 25 125s. Now this is also handy if you want to do some things like I want 12.5. Okay, so we're doing half lap in a 25-yard pool. When I select that, I can actually type in whatever distance I want, whereas for the pick list, I'm limited to items in the pick list. And you see I do have 12.5 as an option, but I don't have 100.5 or whatever. So if you want to put in more precise numbers, then you'll want to use the entry field. And then set interval. And once again, remember that all your changes here are going to be defaults when you create a new set. But center interval is just like the rest interval, except that one's used for sets. So I think for default I had 1050s on the 130 was the original default, and I may want to change that because my swimmer is a little bit faster than that. I may want to change that to 1050s on the 50 seconds as my default set. So you set your default settings, and in this you're also setting how you're going to enter the data, either pick lists or entry fields, and you can play around with those options. Test set entries, also you have the option of changing when you're manually inputting a test set result. You can choose whether it's going to be an entry field or a pick list. There's no default for that, but you can choose your entry mechanism. And then the other things on here, you can set the default stroke, work, and modifier. And most of the time, you'll probably not set these. But maybe if you do a lot of freestyle, maybe you want to make the stroke freestyle a default. You can do that in here, but remember that every new set you create will have these default options, and you may want to consider whether or not you really want that as a default. And then finally, something that was just added in the 4.02 build, so if you don't have that build yet, look for this in the 4.02 build, is an option to display 1x labels. So currently in the program, if you did a set like this, 200, the display would actually say, it would just show 200. Okay, so if it was 200 freestyle, it would just say 200 freestyle. You may want it to be more consistent and actually say 1x 200, just to be more consistent with the other sets like 5x 200. So you can do that just by turning on this display 1x label. That will display that in all the appropriate places. So you have that as an option now. Some people like it without the 1x, some people don't. So just added that option in the 4.02 release. Next up, reports. So reports, I think we actually saw this a little bit before. You can set some different options on the reports, including the image that's going to be displayed on PDF, team logo. You can choose how you want the sorting and whether you want lines and all that. So play around with these different options. Email list, we've been through. This would typically be a list of the coaches that you constantly email workouts to. You can set them up in here so you don't have to create that every time. And then we've gone through Dropbox and we've gone through workout templates. So hopefully that covers all the settings. And as I say, you know, play around with the settings, make some changes, go back into the app and see how you like them. You know, do you like the pick list? Do you like the numeric entry a little bit better? Tried to give you a number of options so that you can choose what's best for you. So I hope you like the flexibility and hope you use those features. Thanks.